Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to today's program of the Green Industry Podcast. We're going to chat today about how to inform your clients that your prices are increasing. I found this really good article on the LinkedIn. It's written by Ewing Irrigation, and they share 7 things to consider as you talk about raising your prices with your customers and how to effectively do that. And so I like to share the example of Chick-fil-A and their spicy chicken sandwich, or Wendy's and their Baconator, right? They're consistently, incrementally raising the price of their product. And in our service-based businesses, we should definitely consider how our plan is to raise our prices consistently and to do it effectively, because there is a little bit of friction there, because we have to actually have our customers agree to our price increase, whereas you can just walk into a fast food restaurant and the price is what it is. And so this article is really good of things to consider as we raise our prices. And, I've been doing this for years, but even showed me a little things I could tweak to be even more effective in this process. Today's episode is brought to you by Jobber. Jobber is the software I use to organize and manage my business. From quoting a project to getting paid, Jobber software brings everything together to make projects easy to manage and customer experience is seamless, giving you more time back in your day and getting paid faster. If you're looking to stay organized and scale your business, head over to getjobber.com/Paul, where the link is in my show notes. Test out Jobber for free for 14 days. Save 20% off your first 6 months when you subscribe. That's getjobber.com/Paul. Number 1, how to inform clients your prices are increasing. Nail down the details. Before you can let clients know what's happening, you need to know what's happening. First, determine your new pricing. Let's say a 10% increase for 2022. Then decide how and when you're going to implement it. Will it be a one-time increase, or will it be implemented in phases? I would recommend you just do it one time, whether you're doing 7%, 5%, 10%, or more. You just kind of like the Band-Aid, you just pull that thing right off, right? Especially for lawn maintenance and things of that nature. So figure out how much you're going to raise your price this year. For a round number, let's say 10%. Again, you need to know your numbers so that price is accurate, and that we're quoting jobs at the right price coming out of the gate. Because then once you know what your plan is, then you'll have the confidence, as we'll go through these next 6, to communicate that with your customers. So nail down the details. What are you raising your rates by this season? 5%, 7%, 10%? Inflation's usually 3 to 5% on an average year. So you at least want to raise your rates by 5% to stay ahead of inflation. Number 2, craft a clear message. Again, this article is from Ewing Irrigation. I found it on LinkedIn. When you draft your letter, nice plug there for our rate increase letter. I wish they would have put that in their article, right? When you draft your letter to clients stating your prices are going up, include the reason for the increase, the date it will go into effect, and that it's necessary for you to continue providing quality service. Conclude by thanking clients for their business and for their understanding, and include your contact information. So craft a clear message. Now, each of those guidelines that Ewing Irrigation gave, I actually checkmarked all of those in the letter that I have drafted. And we have it actually available at greenindustrypodcast.com. It's called the Rate Increase Letter. But years before there was ever even a Green Industry Podcast or there was a Rate Increase Letter, I actually created that letter and I mailed it out in the old school mailboxes. This is a long time ago, friends. Nowadays, the best practice is email. But what was happening was I had to raise my prices, and I didn't know how to communicate that, and I didn't want to be all flustered talking to my customers in person. So I had a letter drafted. Actually, an accountant wrote it for me, and then I, kind of give and take. Mr. Producer was my friend, or is my friend, but back then he kind of helped me tweak it a little bit. I tweaked it, and we eventually came to where we got a really effective letter that gets the message out. That does everything Ewing Irrigation says, that it shares the date that the rate will go into effect, the new rate. You definitely want to share that. That you mentioned about your quality and things of that nature, to reassure them that so that you can continue doing quality work, the price needs to go. And of course, thank them for their business and for being understanding, and have your contact information. So if you're going to write your own rate increase letter, make sure you include all of that. We also have one that's a plug and play at greenindustrypodcast.com. It's very affordable, and you can just download that and use that as the template. Number 3, get the message out. Can't just be in your mind, I want to raise my rates. You got to get that message out. You know what, Mr. Producer? We got to buy new ink. This is all blurry. But yeah, put that on the long to-do list. We got a lot of things to get in order here. I can barely read it. You guys know when you print something out and the printer's just barely hanging on, and it's all, that's where we're at right now. We got to order a new ink cartridge. That's where they get you, man. You buy a printer for like $2, and then the ink cartridge is like $200. It's not $200. You know what I'm saying? And then you got to keep buying an ink cartridge over time. We actually talk about this, Dr. Frank and I, in a marketing course that we did, that you get a customer on the front end. I don't go on a tangent here, but you get the customer on the front end, and then on the back end, you sell them a bunch of upsells and cross sells. And that's the way the printer folks work, man. They get you. You think you're getting a great deal. Oh, I'm getting this mighty complex printer for $30. And then it gets you on the cartridge. Back to your regular scheduled program. Thanks, Marty. Do you communicate with clients through email, regular mail, phone calls, or face-to-face conversations while you're working at their homes or businesses? Does your on-site manager or crew leader handle face-to-face communications with clients? Stick to your usual method of communication for consistency. That's a really good point by Ewing Irrigation in this article. If you mainly communicate via email with your customers, which seems to be most common from all the research I've done, just send out the rate increase letter through the email. There you go. They're already used to you emailing them. You can send it in the email. I've never done the text thing. I got a text from my cleaning services that they're raising their rates twice. 2 of them now. They've raised their rates twice on me this year. And I guess they saw these #1 best-selling books, because they come over to my house. I got my books on my table. Oh, we're going to raise this guy's price, man. Or maybe they just did it for other reasons. I don't know. But they did it via text, and it worked for them because they're still cleaning the place, right? But I think email is probably, for our industries, that's the best touch. Although you could do it during text. Do it during text. But what Ewing Irrigation is saying, however you're used to communicating with your clients, just do it that way as you raise the rates. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 more coming up. It's a really good article. But first and foremost, let's thank today's show sponsors. Alrighty, and we are back. How to inform clients your prices are increasing. Excellent article, Ewing Irrigation. Again, I'm new to the whole LinkedIn thing, but there's some really good content out there. You know, Facebook and Instagram's a lot of like pictures and things of that nature. TikTok, I actually deleted that whole app altogether. I got 58,000 followers over there, and there ain't no way I can scroll through that news feed. It is, there's some crazy stuff out there. But, and I might open up TikTok in the future and post content, but not view it. I got to keep my mind clean and sharp. But anyway, on LinkedIn, a lot of the content is actually, it's very business oriented, career oriented. And you can find some really good gems of content and articles over there. That's where I found this one. Number 4, we're talking about raising these rates. Don't procrastinate. As soon as you've made your decision to change your rates, begin letting your clients know, especially those whose contracts are coming up for renewal. Give at least 30 days notice of change, longer if possible. So I agree with Ewing on the 30-day deal. So if your season starts April 1, then you definitely want to lock this in before March 1. You want that 30-day margin so that they know. If your season, like it does here in the South, starts on March 1, then you're going to want them to communicate. You're going to want to communicate with them. We're a little rusty here from the holidays. That their price is going up by Feb 1. So January is your wheelhouse for us in the South. If you're up there in Minnesota, Wisconsin, New York, Canada, perhaps February is your wheelhouse. But yeah, January, February, now's the time to begin that process. And then there's going to be some stragglers and some back and forth that might linger closer to the start of the season. But you don't want to be a week before the season and there be any doubt. You want to communicate to all your customers your rates going up. Number 5, that's a really good point, guys. I could hit it harder, but we're trying to get short and sweet on the show. Sometimes we can communicate 10 minutes worth of quality content. It takes us 2 hours, right? We're trying to get better, folks. Number 5, start small to test the waters. So I actually was on a coaching call with a guy the other day, and he has to raise his prices. I think it was like 12 or 13% we calculated through our pricing matrix spreadsheet. It'll actually show you what you need to raise your rates by to hit the man-hour goal that you have. And he's real nervous. And, I'm not nervous because my emotions aren't attached to his business. But I was like, well, just send it out. Most folks are going to, it's going to be effortless. Don't even worry about it. But he's all nervous, bent out of shape. So I said, well, why don't you just send it to like 5 of your customers, just so you can see that, more than likely all 5 are going to say, no, we understand. Because from what he told me, he does really quality work. So if that's the truth, they're not going to mind paying 12% extra. But he's nervous, emotional. So I said, well, just send it out to 5 people first. See, is it smooth? Or all 5 say okay? Or do 4 of them say okay? And then one of them fight you and you got to, maybe have a call with them or whatever. So that's a good point. Start small to test the waters. And I'm not saying everyone needs to do this point, but if you've never raised your rates before and you're raising them 10% and you ever go to the swimming pool and you dip your toe in the water before you just, that little 8-year-old kid comes, he just does a cannonball and hops in. He's just like, I'm just going in. That's how you should do raise your rates. But if you're the kind of person that's got to dip your toe in and then you put your ankle in and, you go in all slow, there is that option with raising your rates. Just test the waters. And if you have the proper drafted letter and send it out the proper way, it should be very, very effective. But you can test the waters. And again, don't be, if you raise your rates by 30%, then you're going to get kickback. I was close to that. I raised my rates by 25% my first time around. I lost customers. It just is what it is. That's a whole nother story for another day because my original prices were too low. But test the waters. Moving right along. Thank you. Number 6, Ewing Irrigation. It's like they know what you were thinking. It's a really good article, guys. Be prepared for pushback. While business experts predict that most of your clients will accept that you need to increase prices Again, guys, I need a new computer ink cartridge here. To increase prices to stay in business, some may object, so be prepared. Don't apologize. Don't feel guilty. Don't cancel their increase. Instead, thank the client for their response. Thank them for their business and reaffirm your commitment to providing quality work. If your client is open to a lower level service package or an add-on that doesn't cost you extra but increases the value of the service you provide, offer it. So at the end of the day, you will have some pushback more than likely. And the more effective you can communicate the messaging and send it out, in a professional way, the less pushback you're going to get. The higher the increase is, the more pushback you're going to get. So that's why I've preached for years the incremental increase, because that gives you less pushback in the professional communication of it. But even with that, there may be some pushback. The most humorous pushback, our friend Lamont Hairston from North Carolina, one of his clients got the rate increase letter Lamont got at greenindustrypodcast.com, emailed it out, and the guy calls Lamont and says, "Were you drunk when you wrote this?" And, Lamont's like, "No, I got to raise my price. We're trying to do quality service. My stuff's going up. I got to raise my rates." "Are you drunk, Lamont? What are you thinking?" This guy was giving him pushback. I forget what happened with that story. I think Lamont might have walked, but if someone's not going to pay you an extra 5-10% for your service, do you really want them as a client? I mean, think about it. They're saying you're not worth an extra few bucks. They're going to go hire someone else to save a few bucks. I don't know. That just rubs me the wrong way. So that's why I don't fight that hard. It's like, hey, when you do get pushback, and again, I've lost customers by raising my prices. And the first few ones emotionally, because none of us like to be rejected, right? I've never met a human being that's like, oh, it just makes me feel good when I'm rejected. No, that's ridiculous. When we get rejected or there's loss or something, it's the human nature to not, that doesn't feel right. But when you raise your price and someone, they kick their feet and they throw a fit like a little toddler, right? Then I just say, hey, I provide quality business and explain to them why I raise my price and I don't, give in. And then if they're still going to act a fool, then I just, I accept that they're not my customer anymore. And it's as simple as that. So be prepared for pushback. And if you do get pushback and they're going to, put on a little show there, then just let them go. And as we'll talk about at the beginning of this season of the new year, we're going to do a lot of content on marketing. If you do a phenomenal job with marketing, you have a good framework for marketing, you're going to have new opportunities that you can quote at your higher rate, and you can replace those customers. So that leads us into number 7. I kind of got these mixed up. But using irrigation, I'm telling you guys, this article is phenomenal. I did not write this. They wrote this, and it's right on with what I've been saying for years. Number 7 is know when to say goodbye. Here's what they said. No matter how prepared you are for pushback or what you offer to keep a client's business, there will be some who won't stay after a price increase. That might not be a bad thing. Analyze their account. Is the job profitable, or does the client send a lot of business your way? If the answer to those questions is no, you have your answer, and it may be time to let them go if they aren't willing to accept a price increase. So I already kind of said that. I got ahead of myself, but there it is, guys. And again, we could really talk a lot more about this, because when you get into commercial prices, right, a lot of times it's not a price increase, it's price decrease. When you're bidding work on that, they'll come back and be like, hey, we got 3 bids. And, if you want to stay doing our thing, it's actually your price is going to be lowered next year. That was some of my experiences with commercial work, which I don't want to get on a side tangent with that. But with residential work, a lot of times you're in control and you get to raise the rates, not go backwards. But sometimes you got to say goodbye to clients and replace them with customers that will pay your new rate, so that our businesses can be as profitable as possible. And when it comes to the last thing I want to share, when it comes to raising rates, don't get greedy. Don't get unfair. Would you pay that if you were a customer and someone was coming to do whatever the service is at your property? This is kind of a safe way to do check and balance. Would you pay that price? Is it a fair price? And if your answer is yes, that's reasonable, and it's within the market, and it's within what you need to charge so that you're hitting your goals financially, your business running at a highest profit margin that you can, you want to come up with that fair price, and then just kind of take the emotions out of it. Just send the email, however you want to do the communication, and let the chips fall where they fall. It's very effective. We see over 90%, me personally, and the clients that I work with, I'm constantly walking through folks, helping them to raise their rates, and it's been very successful. So thanks again to Ewing Irrigation for the excellent article. And if you guys want the drafted plug and play letter so you don't have to worry about wording it, you can just go to greenindustrypodcast.com, get that rate increase letter. It's a downloadable plug and play. And then it's very simple. It's very concise. It's not overdone. I think that's a problem some guys have when they draft their letter. They do too much. Just keep it super simple. Make the communication, what the new rate is, why you have the new rate, thank them for their business, email it out, and raise those rates. So Mr. Producer, we'll put that link in the show notes for the rate increase letter at greenindustrypodcast.com. And I definitely would love to hear your story as you raise your rates, of how effective your campaign was, your process was, what you learned from it. And we're all trying to get better at this. So each year we're even more successful in raising our rates. And then last but not least, as you go out to quote work, make sure you're quoting it at the smartest price from day one, because a lot of folks get in emergency mode where they priced it too low and now they got to try to catch up. You'd rather price it the proper price day one, and then each year you're just kind of staying ahead of inflation and doing maintenance with the price increase. You're not making up that gap because you messed up at the original quote. So that's why we preach all the time around here of knowing your numbers. So thanks for listening to today's program. Check that show note, get that rate increase letter, and I hope it's very successful for you. Thanks for listening.